Alright, so today's lesson is on vaping and e-cigarettes. A show of hands, how many of you people know anyone that uses e-cigarettes or vapes? Alright, did you guys know that 37% of high school seniors have actually admitted to vaping? Surprising statistic, right?
I feel like it's more.
Feel like it's more? Why do you feel like that it's more?
It's a very popular thing to do.
Okay, yeah.
I don't lie.
Guess what?
A lot of people probably lie too.
That could definitely be a possibility. And also some people just don't answer on questions like that too. Alright, so today's lesson is going to cover like the basics of vaping e-cigarettes, the components of a vape pen, and then we will go into some of the statistics or the things that happen to the body from vaping e-cigarettes, like the chemicals and stuff that are in there. So the first thing is there'll be a short video here. I want you to pay attention and we'll discuss it.
I play baseball, basketball, and play football. Those are the three sports that I play big time. When I first started vaping, I just turned 15 years old, so I've been doing it for about a year now. All my teammates do it. It's just pretty normal for everybody to do it.
People that I know that do it, they're like good students, like straight A's. It's a normal thing to do. I was 13 the first time I vaped.
People at my high school, they would vape on the bus just because it's like so easy to hide. It's just like a little like black pen. I can just vape at home, like my parents don't know at all.
When I'm riding my bike, like far distances, it makes me feel like I'm riding away. And the reason I vape is to basically get away and get my mind off the things. I was 13 years old when I vaped for the first time. I started buying $5 vaporizers, and from there, I moved on to bigger ones.
Most of my friends that vape, they use nicotine. A lot of nicotine actually. Like because you can put as much nicotine into it as you want. Like the concentrates can go way past just cigarettes.
There are too many flavors to count. There are endless amounts that you can get.
There's cotton candy, bubblegum, peppermint.
Some that taste like pancakes, coffee flavored.
I heard one was unicorn puke. It sounds like cartoon flavors or something.
It makes them seem a little bit more kid friendly, so people are like okay with doing it.
Some of my friends, they're sponsored by vape companies. They just get sent stuff for free because then they like make YouTube videos of all the tricks that they're doing. And they're like, oh, this is the juice I'm using. This is the mod I'm using.
A lot of people post them on their Snapchat stories or on Instagram of them vaping. They tend to be more popular.
You know, I can look up vape and a whole bunch of videos will come up and I can see what kind of cool tricks they're doing, learn what the name is, and I can go look it up on YouTube how to do it.
It's the whole culture. It's kind of a big deal for a lot of people that I know.
Sometimes I do feel pressured into vaping with all the social media nowadays. It has a really big effect on what people just think about you.
If you don't vape, you're looked at as outsider, so everybody does it.
I think people that you would never expect would definitely be vapors. It's becoming like more and more popular.
Vaping is considered cool in my group of friends. It might just be the fact that you're doing something you know you shouldn't be doing.
There's no worry that our parents are going to find us vaping on social media. We've gotten really good at hiding it from our parents.
I know I'm underage, but it's just something that I do. I won't let it affect my future.
Alright, so what do you guys think the message from that video was? Austin.
That teens are basically, I saw like it looked like teens were kind of being targeted by like tobacco companies or vaping companies because of like the flavors and stuff about that, and then like also how like it seemed like they were pretty young, like they were like 13 and 15 years old when they were like starting and stuff. So it's like kind of like a social norm. It's kind of like how the main point was.
Yeah. So yeah, the companies are targeting the teens, like having them as like sponsors, and then the teens like said they started at a young age, so that they like kept getting like commercials from companies and stuff like that, and like being advertised by the companies online, and that it's shown as cool for younger kids to do it. And then they even mentioned that they're hiding it from their parents and stuff, which means that they know it's wrong, but they're just hiding it because they can't stop doing it because they can control the amount of nicotine in it, and some of them are using so much nicotine that they get addicted really fast, right? Yeah, so, yes.
I think one thing that's interesting is that with cigarettes, the contents of the cigarettes are usually controlled by the company.
Yeah.
With vaping, it's controlled by the consumer and what they choose to put in.
Yeah.
So one's content is going to look completely different than somebody else's contents.
And do you think that's good or bad thing?
I think that it's dangerous in terms of allowing the consumer to control how much nicotine they're entering into their body, as well as the chemicals that are in whatever they are vaping.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do is I have an article. To save time for this class, I'm not gonna give you all of it, I'm just gonna give you a summary of it. So the article is called "Is Vaping Worse Than Smoking?" and it's from the New York Times. So the article was on a study by Portland State scientists, and it talks about the harmful effects of vaping at a higher voltage. When at a higher voltage, the vape pen or mod gives off formaldehyde, which is a chemical that can cause cancer. At this high voltage, it's said that you are 15 times more likely to develop cancer than smoking cigarettes. However, at a low voltage, the vape pens do not give off any formaldehyde. The study showed that when people heard that vape pens at high voltages can cause cancer easier than cigarettes, they switched back to cigarettes, when in fact they're both harmful to you and both are very addicting. The study concluded with the fact that we still do not know everything about vaping and e-cigarettes, but we do know that the nicotine in them is harmful, and too high of a voltage can increase the risk of cancer. So with that, I would have you guys talk amongst each other about the key points of the article and what your takes are on it. So if you guys could pair up and just talk about that amongst yourselves for a couple minutes.
And there's like people don't like it's like the lesser people like when people speak like the less act then you do it yeah.
Yeah, this is worse than this.
What kind of growth? So you look like this
Alright, so we're gonna come back together now and talk as a group.
What?
Alright, so what would you guys talk about in your individual groups? Brooke, Amanda?
We kind of said that it's like an in-between, like it's worse than cigarettes if it's on the high voltage, but it's better than cigarettes if it's on the low voltage. But you can, there's like also different factors, like depending on how much nicotine you put in and how often you do it, like you can't really say if it's better or worse.
Yeah, exactly. Leslie and
We kind of talked about how it sounds like people are trying to pick the lesser of two evils, and so kind of going with their point, neither are good for you, but in the article it just sounds like a lot of people are just trying to pick which one they think is the lesser of two evils.
yeah, exactly. And Austin's.
We kind of based it off of the use and pointed out that while how you use it kind of determines like what your risk factors are, but still that the risk is still there. So if you choose to not do it, it's not saying you should start. And just because one is regulated doesn't mean that it's necessarily safe, because there's still a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so now we're gonna go more into depth on the vaping and e-cigarettes. So this is what a general vape pen usually looks like, and there's some mods over there in the corner. So what happens is, like, there's a battery, an atomizer, tank and a chamber, a mouthpiece, and the button that you push. So when you push the button, it triggers the battery to use to heat the atomizer, and then the atomizer gets heated and then ends up burning the e-juice that is in there, and then it ends up turning into a water vapor that eventually goes into the lungs and gets breathed back out. So then you can either have a prepared e-juice that just gets put in there, or some people end up just taking the bottle and dripping it in there. And then also, you can control the amount of nicotine that is in there. Usually with the mods, it's easier to control the amount of nicotine, or when you actually just put the nicotine in with the bottles, and then you can control the amount of nicotine that's in there from that. Some of the original e-cigarettes that there were, they actually looked exactly like e-cigarettes, and they could be disposed of, or you could buy some that actually like could be recharged and replaced. Alright, so nicotine. Nicotine is a stimulant, and it can be controlled in the vape pens, which can also lead to overdoses, and it can cause extreme addiction. It can cause problems in school, because sometimes kids will bring it into the schools and stuff. They're so addicted to it that they can't live without it. They end up taking it into classes, get in trouble with it because they just decide that they can't live without it, and they do it in class. They get caught, they get it taken away, they get in trouble, they get detentions and stuff. It can also lead to birth defects. It can lead to type 2 diabetes, obesity, hypertension, neurobehavior defects, respiratory dysfunction, and infertility, which I don't think any of you guys want. So some other side effects here, it can cause problems with the circulation, obviously lungs, because you're inhaling things into your lungs. It can cause pain and tremors in your muscles. It can cause hormonal imbalance, such as insulin problems, which is the type 2 diabetes, the joint pain, and other things like with your heart, and obviously some things during pregnancy too. Alright, so some of the chemicals, there is less chemicals in there than in cigarettes. However, because of the amount, like the fact that you can control the nicotine, that can be problematic. And also, if you put it at a high voltage, you can get formaldehyde, which causes cancer. There's, however, not like enough tests on the amount of chemicals and everything that's wrong with vaping, because it's only been around for like about 10 years, so that there's not as much research as could be done yet. It can also cause resistance to bacteria or to antibiotics that are caused from, or that can help against bacteria, which in turn can actually lower the amount that the antibiotics can help against, like an infection or something that you can get. And then obviously the formaldehyde at a high voltage, it could cause cancer, and I don't think any of you want cancer, do you? Alright, so now we're gonna have a discussion. So first off, why do you think people use vapes and e-cigarettes?
Because I think it's a better alternative than regular tobacco products.
Yep.
Like the video said, the younger crowd uses it for like peer pressure. Like if you're not doing it, you're not cool type thing.
Completely the cool factor. I think that people see it as a rebellious thing. If they can think they're doing something secretly, they think they're getting away with something, and that's why they're made in different types of forms to make them a little inconspicuous. And I hear students talking about how cool vape tricks are, etc., that lead to the culture or the hype around vape pens.
Yeah, and they
For
like post
vaping.
it on videos and stuff so that people can try it on their own, which obviously can lead to more people trying it because they think it looks cool. Seth?
Some people use this to control their anxiety, though. In terms of anxiety levels, nicotine's a stimulant.
Well, also nicotine's very addictive, and they think it's controlling everything because they're addicted to it already, and that's why they keep having to do it. They get anxiety without doing it because they're already addicted to the nicotine. Alright. So how could you guys possibly get people to stop using it? Coach?
Raise the level of education and awareness to the risks, or the unknown risks at this point.
Talk to them about like what the contents of it like actually are, because like the FDA doesn't even like regulate the majority of like vaping products. So I mean, even if they are something they can pretty much say whatever they want just inside a product.
Yeah.
And that's I think could be what works.
Amanda?
As young adults, I think it should be hit on that it's a very expensive habit, and like that money could be used towards a lot definitely better things.
Exactly.
Just ruining your body.
Coach?
I think you need to shed light on the industry that is pumping out these chemicals and these pens and trying to procure customers at such a young age. It's completely for the profit, and they aren't looking out for anyone's best interest or health, even if people are claiming that to be the reason as to why they vape. Anytime that you're targeting teens and 13-year-olds and trying to sponsor them by giving them product and having them promote their product online, it's just another moneymaker, and the masses need to start understanding that they are being part of the sheep that are following that industry.
Yeah, exactly. Owners, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I would say, to attack it, the reason why a lot of people do it, the cool factor gets students to understand that it's not cool. And so if you are a student who doesn't do it, talk to your friends that do it and say, well, I don't think it's cool. Like, there are a lot of people that don't agree that it's something you should do.
Exactly. So now, how would you get somebody that's in your family that's, let's say, like a parent or like an uncle or something, how would you get them to stop using vape pens or e-cigarettes? Amanda?
Make them feel guilty.
Why is that?
Be like, well, by doing this, you're shortening your life, and I don't want you to die sooner than you have to, something like that.
Yeah, using a method like that. Coach, you had your hand raised?
Along with the education point, just giving the information that you know. However, I think you do need to assess why is the reason that they're using. If you have somebody that's been smoking that has lowered themselves off of the chemicals from smoking and is simply vaping, there might be value in their progression towards eventually getting off vaping. However, the levels of nicotine play a role in how addicted they will become to the vaping. And if you have somebody using it in conjunction with smoking, it's that much more dangerous. It's a multiplying effect, actually, because then you're receiving the heavy doses of metals and nicotine, as well as the dangers or the risks from cigarettes. So it's actually got a multiplying effect. So it kind of looks at case-by-case basis, what's the reason and what is the consequences of them quitting? Do they return to cigarettes?
Alright, so kind of covered this already, but is vaping and doing e-cigarettes better than tobacco cigarettes?
Case by case basis.
Yeah, some sunrise now.
Yep. Alright, so how do you avoid peer pressure if a friend asks you to vape with them?
Good. I'm not about that much.
Yeah, just saying no?
Yep. Just trying to follow up on
Don't answer.
Yeah, yeah. Give a reason. Yep. Anything else?
Show your individualism, an ability to stand up against the crowd and do things that are good for you versus just following blindly.
Yep.
Not
What if you see people peer pressuring a friend into trying something like vaping?
I mean, overall, it's their decision, but I mean, I'm gonna educate that friend prior to letting them like make the decision, and then like they can do with the information that they will. But hopefully,
You could ask your friend to do something else, like you guys could go to soccer or something.
Try to change the topic, get them away from the situation, yeah.
You can also tell them that they don't even know what's in it, because like some people like put cannabis in it, and like, I don't know, maybe they have like a drug test for the job or something like that. So I actually don't want to be like, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, you also don't, yeah, exactly, you don't know what's in somebody else's vape pen, so, exactly. Alright. So now, here's a final assignment. I'm not gonna give it to you guys because it's a paper. So, for the final assignment, it'll be a assignment of a paper. It'll be the students finding a article from a reputable source online of either a study or an article online about vaping, and then they will write a 300 to 600 word response or summary of the article, and then they will respond to the article with their own thoughts using knowledge that they gained in class, and they will just respond with their opinions of what they think about the article in 300 to 600 words. So, yeah, and thank you, class. Have a good day.